Hello friends, I see we're up. Me and my ugly mug are here with you to practice some listening. I think I need to find some materials first. Probably this one. Yeah, that's the one. So there won't be much talking in the first 20-30 minutes. Then I'll do the questions, if there are any, and then do we call this, mistakes checking, and then speaking about the strategies. Oh, and also one of my students told me his result for the fourth part, and I'm taking the challenge, and I'm gonna probably do the fourth part only and then comment on his mistakes. Yeah, I'm feeling not sleepy at all and very energized, so let's get to it.
Now listen carefully to the talk and answer questions 31 to 40.
Oh, wait.
Today's Health Council is presented by Paul.
Probably we need another sample then.
You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. Write all your answers in the listening question booklet. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to section 1 of your question booklet.
Oh wait, I haven't planned that. Oh, you shouldn't see this. That's confidential. Yeah, it works that way, I guess. Can you see the... Yeah, you can't see it well, so give me a second. So I guess it'll be like that. Or, no. Okay, give me a second to do all the necessary configurations. So we're doing it on the 18th. And we'll also copy the... Should have prepared better. I agree. Wasn't the smoothest beginning. I guess it starts from here. And then here's where I'm gonna type. And then here's how we're gonna see it. Yeah, I can make myself bigger so that you can see the light in my eyes when I'm listening. So yeah, let's just finally get to it.
Section 1. In this section, you will hear 2 overseas students, Kate and Lukey, being interviewed by a university counsellor. First look at questions 1 to 5. You will see that there is an example which has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to the example will be played first.
Hi there, Kate. Come on in. How are you today?
Fine, thanks.
Hi, Lukey. How's things?
Okay.
Well, As I explained on the phone, I'm a counsellor here at the Student Services section of the university, and I'm interviewing overseas students to help me draw up a guide for new students. So I'd be grateful if you could tell me a little about your time since you've been here in Cambridge.
Right.
Good idea.
Now, Kate, let's start with you. Okay, this is your second semester, isn't it? Could you tell us something about your first impressions of the town when you arrived?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I was struck by how quiet it is here in the evening.
Kate's first impression of the town is that it is
Let's
quiet.
rewind a bit, yeah. Oops.
So, you should filling in the...
Hi, Kate. Come on in. How are you today? As I explained on the phone, I'm a counsellor here. How's things? You can tell me a little about your time since you've been here in Cambridge.
Good
Right.
idea.
Now, Kate, let's start with you. Okay, this is your second semester, isn't it? Could you tell us something about your first impressions of the town when you arrived?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I was struck by how quiet it is here in the evening.
Yeah, I suppose Cambridge is a quiet place. Where did you live when you first arrived?
Well, I went straight into student accommodation. It was a kind of student hostel.
Ah, right. So, you didn't have to worry about doing your own cooking or anything like that?
No, but sometimes the food at the hostel was awful.
Oh, dear. But how were the other students?
To be honest, I haven't managed to make many friends, even though the place is full. People seem to keep to themselves. They're not really very friendly.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, what about the actual course? You're studying,
I'm doing a master's by coursework in environmental studies.
Oh, right. And how are you finding that?
Yeah, well, it's been pretty good, really. Yeah, I've enjoyed the course, but I feel there hasn't been enough contact with the lecturers.
Oh.
They all seem to be incredibly busy. The only chance I've really had to talk to them was on the field trip.
Well, that's no good.
Mm-mm.
Could anything be done to improve the course, in your opinion?
Well, I think it would be helpful to have meetings with lecturers on the course. Say, once a fortnight, something like that.
Regular meetings.
Uh-huh.
Yes, that could certainly help. Now, Kate, we'll come back to you in a minute, but I'd just like to ask Lukey some questions.
Before they continue the interview, look at questions 6 to 10. As you listen to the rest of the interview, complete the notes.
Lukey, where are you from?
I am from Indonesia.
And how did you find Cambridge when you first arrived?
Well, I like it here. I think the city is very beautiful.
What about your accommodation? Was that okay?
Yes, okay. At first, I stayed with a family for 3 months. They were very kind to me, but they had 3 young children, and I found it difficult to study.
Right, I see.
So after 3 months, I moved out, and now I live with 2 other students in a student house. It's much cheaper, and we like it there.
Good. And, what about your studies? What are you studying?
I'm doing a Bachelor of Computing.
Computing. I see. Apart from the language difficulties, if you can separate them, how have you found the course?
Okay, but...
Yes, go on.
Well, the main difficulty for me is getting time on the computers in the computer room. It's always busy, and this makes it very hard to do my practical work.
Yes, I'm sure it would. Can you reserve time in the computer room?
No, you can't. But it would certainly help if we could reserve computer time.
Yes, I'll look into that and see if something can't be done to improve things over there. Now, let's go back to Kate.
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Guess this one would be correct. As you can see, it's so easy to hear the content, but then how to put it correctly, no more than 3 words, not enough lecture contact, so she wanted more meetings and talking with lecturers.
Section 2. You are going to hear a radio talk about buying a bicycle. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 20. Now listen to the first part of the talk and complete the notes by filling in the numbered spaces 11 to 20.
Well, last week we talked about buying camping equipment, and today I'd like to talk to you about buying a bicycle. A simple enough exercise, you might imagine, but there are lots of things to look out for to make sure you get the best deal for your money. Well, the range of bicycles is enormous. There are racing bikes, touring bikes, mountain bikes, or just plain ordinary bikes for riding around town. They vary enormously in 2 basic ways: price and quality. This means that the choice you make will probably be determined by the amount of money you want to pay, your own personal needs, what is actually available, or a compromise of all 3 things. However, in broad terms, you can spend anything from $50 to $2,000 on a bike, so you'll need to know what you're looking for. Single-speed cycles, that is bikes with no gears, are really only suited to short, casual rides. Their attraction is their simplicity and reliability. After years of neglect, they still manage to function, though not always too efficiently. If it's basic transport you're after, then you can't go wrong. 3-speed cycles, on the other hand, are all that is really necessary for most town riding, going to the shops and things like that. Like the single-speed bike, they're simple and reliable. If you are going to be going up and down lots of hills, then you'll probably want something more efficient. 5 and 10-speed bicycles are best suited to riding over long distances or hilly terrain and to serious touring. So if it's serious touring you're interested in, get a 5 or 10-speed bike. However, it's worth remembering that the difference in price between a 5 and 10-speed cycle is usually very little, and so it's well worth paying that little bit extra to get the 10-speed one. So I would tend to recommend the 10-speed bike as the price is similar. However, you'll be getting better quality components. Now, the next thing we need to look at is size. Buying a cycle is like buying clothes. First of all, you find the right size, and then you try it on to see if it fits. Contrary to what you might imagine, the size of the cycle is not determined by the size of the wheels, except in children's cycles, but by the size of the frame. So you'll need to measure the length of your legs and arms to get a frame that is the right size for you. Well, that's all from Helpful Hints for today.
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Right, that was easier, but they actually here it was a bit harder because they just kept giving the info for all of these. But anyway, I think I should check myself here, but I'd better go back to the first part and take a look at it.
Now turn to section 3. Section 3. In this section, you will hear a conversation between 2 students, Fiona and Martin, talking about a tutorial topic. First, look at questions 21 to 24. Now listen and answer questions 21 to 24.
Hi there, Martin. How are you going with your Australian Studies tutorial paper?
Oh, good. I finished it, actually.
Lucky you. What did you do it on? I'm still trying to find an interesting topic.
Well, after some consideration, I decided to look at the history of banana growing in Australia.
Banana growing?
Yeah, banana growing.
Fascinating, I'm sure.
Well, it's not as boring as you'd think. And I wanted to tie it into the work I've been doing on primary industries and the economy. Anyway, I bet there are a few things you didn't know about bananas.
Such as?
Such as the fact that bananas were among the first plants ever to be domesticated.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're an extremely nourishing food.
I suppose you're going to tell me the whole history of banana growing now, aren't you?
Well, it'll be a good practice run for my tutorial next week. I'll do the same for you sometime.
Okay, fire away. So where were these bananas first domesticated?
According to my research, the Cavendish banana, which is a type of banana and the first type to be cultivated here, actually originated in China, but they had a fairly roundabout route before they got to Australia.
You mean they didn't go straight from China to Australia?
No, they didn't. It seems that in 1826, bananas were taken from South China to England.
I suppose they'd have made a welcome addition to the English diet.
Yes, I'm sure. Well, apparently there was an English duke who was particularly fond of bananas, and he used to cultivate them in his hothouse, which is where you have to grow them in England, of course, because of the cool climate. And they became quite popular in the UK. So he was the one responsible for cultivating the Cavendish banana, which was then introduced into Australia.
I see, and we've been growing them ever since.
Yeah.
Now look at questions 25 to 32. As the conversation continues, complete Martin's notes.
Are they hard to grow?
Well, yes and no. To grow them in your garden, no, not really. But to grow them commercially, you need to know what you're doing. You see, you only get one bunch of bananas per tree, and it can take up to 3 years for a tree to bear fruit if you don't do anything special to it. But this period is greatly reduced with modern growing methods, particularly in plantations where you have perfect tropical conditions.
Right. So what are you looking at? 1 year? 2 years?
No, around 15 months in good conditions for a tree to produce a bunch of bananas. And once you've got your bunch, you cut the bunch and the plant down.
So how do the trees reproduce then?
Well, bananas are normally grown from suckers, which spring up around the parent plant, usually just above the plant. They tend to like to grow uphill, or at least that's the common wisdom.
So that's why banana plantations are usually on hillsides, is it?
Yeah, they grow best like that.
That's interesting.
If you plant them in rich soil and give them plenty of water at the beginning of summer, then they should be well advanced by the beginning of winter, when growth virtually stops. But in a country like England, they're hard to grow. Although you can grow them in a hothouse.
But in Australia, it's not difficult.
No, though even here, the growers put plastic bags around the bunches to protect them and keep them warm. If you go up to the banana growing districts, you'll see all these banana trees with plastic bags on them.
But how do they stop the bananas going bad before they reach the shops?
Well, the banana bunches are picked well before the fruit's ripe. Once you cut the bunch, the bananas stop growing, but they do continue to ripen. The interesting thing is that once one banana ripens, it gives off a gas which then helps all the others to ripen. So they pretty much all ripen within a few hours of each other.
Amazing. So do we export lots of bananas overseas to Europe and Asia, for instance?
Well, oddly enough, no. I believe New Zealand takes a small proportion of the crop, but otherwise, well, they're mostly grown for the domestic market, which is surprising when you think about it, because we grow an enormous number of bananas each year.
Yes, well, thank you for all that information. I'm sure the tutorial paper will go really well. You certainly seem to have done your research on the subject.
Let's hope so.
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Yeah, that was a mess. No more than 3, that means that there should have been a 3.
Section 4. You are going to hear part of a public lecture for new students. First, look at questions 33 to 35. Now listen and answer questions 33 to 35.
Good morning everyone, and welcome to our regular lecture on health issues. This series of lectures is organised by the Students' Union and is part of the union's attempt to help you, the students of this university, to stay healthy while coping with study and social life at the same time. So, it's a great pleasure for me to welcome back Ms. Diane Greenbaum, who is a professional dietitian and who has been kind enough to give up her time in what I know is a very hectic schedule to come along and talk to us today.
Thank you. Thank you very much, John. May I say it's a pleasure to be back. Now, stresses at university, being away from home and having to look after yourselves, learning your way around the campus, all contribute to making it quite hard sometimes to ensure that your diet is adequate. So, today, I'm going to talk about ways of making sure that you eat well, while at the same time staying within your budget.
Now look at questions 36 to 41. As you listen to the second part of the lecture, complete the notes and diagram in the spaces provided.
If you have a well-balanced diet, then you should be getting all the vitamins that you need for normal daily living. However, sometimes we think we're eating the right foods, but the vitamins are escaping, perhaps as a result of cooking, and anyway, we're not getting the full benefit of them. Now, if you lack vitamins in any way, the solution isn't to rush off and take vitamin pills, though they can sometimes help. No, it's far better to look at your diet and how you prepare your food. So, what are vitamins? Well, the dictionary tells us they are food factors essential in small quantities to maintain life. Now, there are fat-soluble vitamins, which can be stored for quite some time by the body, and there are water-soluble vitamins, which are removed more rapidly from the body. And so a regular daily intake of these ones is needed. Okay, so how can you ensure that your diet contains enough of the vitamins you need? Well, first of all, you may have to establish some new eating habits. No more chips at the uni canteen, I'm afraid. Now, firstly, you must eat a variety of foods. Then you need to ensure that you eat at least 4 servings of fruit and vegetables daily. Now, you'll need to shop 2 or 3 times a week to make sure that they're fresh, and store your vegetables in the fridge or in a cool, dark place. Now, let's just refresh our memories by looking at the healthy diet pyramid. Okay, can you all see that? Good. Well, now, as you see, we've got 3 levels to our pyramid. At the top, in the smallest area, are the things which we should really be trying to avoid as much as possible. Things like, yes, sugar, salt, butter, all that sort of thing. Next, on the middle of our pyramid, we find the things that we can eat in moderation. Not too much, though. And that's where we find milk, lean meat, fish, nuts, eggs. And then at the bottom of the pyramid are the things that you can eat lots of, because they're the things that are really good for you. And here we have bread, vegetables, and fruit. So, don't lose sight of your healthy diet pyramid when you do your shopping.
That is the end of section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Yeah, that's a weird one. I guess I trusted the wrong site. First of all, there must be 40 questions. I'm not sure. I think that's the IELTS listening standard. So it's, yeah, only. And never changes, so that's a mess up from the start. And yeah, actually it messed up my planning, because I know that the parts are usually evenly distributed, so you have 10 questions per each, so that was really confusing. I don't really need to get used to this, so I don't really care about these two. Let's take a wild guess and say that who likes bananas more? Ah, Australian bananas. Someone who's close, probably. Yeah. But they have their own bananas on the other hand, probably. So, A. We don't have A's here, so... yeah, let's check. Kept to themselves, keep to themselves. Yeah, I guess that goes in line with that comment. Which one's about tenses, so I'd say that one is correct. Oh, this one I haven't even corrected it. Lectures, too busy, yeah. No way I would have rephrased it, and you can say lectures. Oh, don't have time, yeah, that's 4. Busy lectures. Well, I would say swamped lectures. Anyway, so let's stop trashing it. Let's just not count it so that I could get more points. Anyway, that's a mistake. Regular meetings, meetings with lecturers, yeah. Family. No more than 3 words. Let's check. 6. No, more than 3 words. 6. First type of accommodation with a family. I don't know. Is it incorrect? Lots of noise. Children made noise. 3 children. I think that's enough. Noisy children. Noisy children. That's what I wanted to write as well. They don't have it, so it's kind of a weird task. Student house. Bachelor of Computing. Reserve computer time. Okay. $2,000. Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a mistake. Yeah, take that. Probably is like buying clothes. Yeah, that makes a better sentence. Title notice process can be like a thing. Yeah, yeah. Right. So that's a good mistake. A fair mistake. Frame DCDB DCAB. Okay. I guess. What's another one? One bunch. Okay, not bad. 10 months. On hillsides. Uphill. 27. To grow. Yeah, just hillsides is not enough. On. Yeah, I guess was not listening to this one. Plastic bags, bananas, helps them. I take that as the right answer. BDC, CAB. Oh wait, CD. Almost. Not bad. Just taking wild guesses. So, BDC, cooking, daily, intake, a variety, the fridge. That's just wonderful. I'm not sure there would be. I'm not sure I've ever seen two completely different answers. But 8 lots. I would say off fits well here. Unless there is eat in moderation. I don't know, that's so confusing. So I would, yeah, take these 5 mistakes definitely. Let's re-listen to the 23rd one. So here it's buying. Thank you for the comment. Anyway.
Things to look out for to make sure you get the best deal for your money. Always do efficiently.
24.
24, that's nice.
Consideration, I decided to look at the history of banana growing in Australia.
Banana growing?
Yeah, banana growing. Despite the fact that bananas were among the first plants ever to be domesticated.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're an extremely nourishing food.
I suppose you're going to tell me the whole history of banana growing now, aren't you?
Well, it'll be a good practice run for my tutorial next week. I'll do the same for you sometime.
Okay, fire away. So where were the...
Right, yes, so I just wasn't listening then. Sunlight, yeah, I wasn't listening. This one is just, yeah, so let's talk about the nature of mistakes. Those two are just not reading the sentences correctly. So you should get enough time. Usually, I guess I was too busy thinking about sleeping than to just get ready properly. But anyway, so I guess that comes with practice. As for this one, oh, actually, this one is not listening and this one is not listening. Probably comes with practice. I guess I just need to learn to prioritize information and keep track of what's happening, what's going on, when I should move on. Actually, these two, again, I wasn't listening, but on the other hand, it was a part of that task, and this never happens, so probably it's safe to say this will never happen again with proper materials. So yeah, inattention, inattention, two types of inattention. And then let's take a look at guess I need to hide my Telegram just to open the staff properly. Can I do this or that? Oh yeah. Don't be alarmed. I'll be back in a second. I'll just open this one, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so we're gonna do one more. It's gonna be part 4. Did he do the... oh man. Oh, seeing that it's listening test 2. Probably he did this one. Good times, hiddenness. Oh no, I've done this one, so it's probably that one. Oh, the soil. I think I've done it. Yeah, I guess we won't do that here. Is that right? I feel like... okay, give me one more second. Oh no, I think he... yeah, just give me another minute. I'll open the Skyeng. Open our notes. Yeah, it was a different one. Yeah, I'm on it. I'm on it. Okay, got it. Welcome back. Let's hear. Okay, so we're doing another task, but that's only section 4. One of my students said it was quite challenging. So let's do it. And I guess I should put my face somewhere here. Or just make it smaller. Let's just save the time. Or let's do this. And then my face is still too big. Okay. So I guess let's just get to it, and we can make this smaller. Oh, we can't. Alright, let's just copy this, put it here, and just move on and clean it up later. And then we have these 30 to 41. Let's go.
Section 4. You will hear a lecture about the Great Wall of China. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 35. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 35.
Perhaps the most recognizable symbol of China and its long and vivid history, the Great Wall of China is one of the most extensive construction projects ever completed. Somewhat ironically, though, the one monument that China built to keep foreigners out is actually now the biggest tourist attraction in the country. Despite the initial purpose, the Great Wall never effectively prevented invaders from entering China. It came to function more as a psychological barrier between Chinese civilization and the world, and remains a powerful symbol of the country's enduring strength. Though the beginning of the Great Wall of China can be traced to the 3rd century BC, many of the fortifications included in the wall date from hundreds of years earlier, when China was divided into a number of individual kingdoms during the so-called Warring States period. Around 220 BC, Qin, the first emperor of a unified China, ordered that earlier fortifications between states be removed, and a number of existing walls along the northern border be joined into a single system that would extend for more than 10,000 li and protect China against attacks from the north. A li is about 1/3 of a mile, and that's where the monument's name came from. The original name for the Great Wall is Long Wall of 10,000 li, or simply the Long Wall. Though the wall is quite inspiring, it was never called the Great Wall in Chinese, and only foreign mistranslation with romantic overtones referred to it as Great or Big Wall. With the death of Qin and the fall of his dynasty, much of the Great Wall fell into disrepair. Much later, a series of frontier tribes seized control in northern China. The most powerful of these was the Northern Wei dynasty, which repaired and extended the existing wall in 390 AD to defend against attacks from other tribes. Despite its long history, the Great Wall of China as it exists today was constructed mainly during the mighty Ming dynasty, from 1368 to 1644. Under the strong hand of the Ming rulers, Chinese culture flourished, and the period saw an immense amount of construction in addition to the Great Wall, including bridges, temples, and pagodas. In earlier centuries, the wall held little importance for the Mongols as a military fortification, and mostly served to protect caravans traveling along the profitable trade routes. But during the Ming dynasty, the Great Wall was considered vital to the defense of the country.
Too many C's, but okay.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 36 to 40.
Before the use of bricks, the Great Wall was mainly built from stones, wood, and rammed earth. However, during the Ming dynasty, bricks were heavily used in many areas of the wall. The size and weight of the bricks made them easier to work with than earth and stone, so construction quickened. Additionally, bricks could bear more weight and endure better than earth and wood. But many western sections of the wall are constructed from mud, and thus are more susceptible to erosion. That's why in many locations the Great Wall is in disrepair. A report by the State Administration of Cultural Heritage states that almost 1/5 of the wall has totally vanished. In places, the height of the wall has been reduced from more than 5 meters to less than 2 meters. And more than 60 kilometers of the wall in Gansu province may disappear in the next 20 years, due to frequent sandstorms. However, the state does its best to preserve and extensively renovate the Chinese wall, which makes a considerable figure upon the terrestrial globe. Due to its imposing sizes, the wall is often believed to be visible from the moon. But it's only a rumor. The width of the Great Wall, viewed from the moon, is about the same as that of a human hair, viewed from 2 miles away. In other words, to see the wall from the moon would require superhuman eyesight. Today, the monument attracts thousands of national and foreign tourists every day. In 1987, UNESCO designated the Great Wall a World Heritage Site. And now the Great Wall is generally recognized as one of the most impressive architectural feats in history.
That is the end of section 4. You now have half a minute to check your...
Yeah, so during that half a minute I would try to remember the spelling of susceptible. Ramped, I'm not sure. Deed, I'm not sure. But anyway, shall we just check it architectural. Beside woodland. And then A, B, C, C, C. And bam. Awesome. Oh, rammed. Okay. Susceptible, yeah. Sandstorms is one word. Eyesight is good. Architectural deeds. Feats. Yeah. That is a failure. Rammed. Yeah, I know this one. Susceptible. Just gotta remember the spelling. Yeah, sus. Feels weird. Frequent sandstorms. That was a dumb mistake. That's nice. And then let's talk about the mistakes that the student made. And they were 40. Yeah, feet is a word. Actually, feet, yeah. Shouldn't have made that mistake. Rammed, yeah, that's a new word. For me, almost as well. 34. Oh yeah, here I see what the problem was. They started with saying that these people built it, these people repaired it, and it looks like they constructed it, they maintained it, but then they say as we know it today. So I think they said as we know it instead of it exists. So yeah, that is confusing. Then 32 and 31. Same here. They start with saying that it dates back like to the 3rd century, but in fact we can see some evidence that shows blah blah blah. So it's always nice to listen to the further information, because they started with this one. I'm not even sure they mentioned. And 31st one. Oh, it was also about some initial. Can we see the transcript?
History, the Great Wall in the country. Despite the initial purpose, the Great Wall never effectively prevented invaders from
Despite the initial purpose, and then they say in the negative what this purpose was. That was the, yeah.
Entering China. It came to function more as a psychological barrier.
So it was built for this, but it came to function, so the function in the end was to be a psychological barrier. And actually I wanted to click B, but just to make sure I looked back to the question and saw that it was built too. And that means that that's the initial idea, the reason. And actually I'm quite happy that I haven't made that mistake, because before that I have made a couple because of it, because I wasn't reading the questions attentively enough. So yeah, I think this would be it. Hello Nikita, how's it going? Wrestling is stupid. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that video after I'm done, and I am done. So if you have no questions, we're gonna wrap it up. I am a bit ashamed that I have messed up these. So and I'm not really ashamed of those, because these are just, oh, I haven't read the sentence well enough. I have heard the right information, so I can be proud of that. But these two, yeah, this one doesn't count. These two are mistakes that I should root out as soon as possible, because yeah, I must be able to hear all the content they're giving. And I think that if I sat here and just stared at the wall and just listened to what they're saying, like I usually do with podcasts, and like you could try with such exercises, I would hear the content, and sometimes I feel like I'm spacing out, but at the same time I keep listening. I keep just following the script, like what's happening, what are they talking about now, not looking at the answers, maybe not trying to connect every sentence to the task. I can come back then once they're done and yeah, and fill the gaps correctly. Yeah, but mostly it's so weird. Like here they can say, but actually that's a flawed sample in itself. It's just dumb. So yeah, let's hope. I think tomorrow I don't have, yeah, I might have quite a few lessons, but I think I'll do this tomorrow again. So if anyone who wishes to join that kind of activities, so listening to the 14, not 40 actually, yeah, about around 20 to 30 minutes of listening to listening, yeah, listening samples, IELTS, just hop on, just tell me beforehand so that I can stream the tasks, but I will hide the answers so that they don't get spoiled for you. And then we can compare. I will definitely talk about my mistakes, what strategies should be used to eliminate them, and then if you wish we could talk about your mistakes. It's really fun for me to do, analyzing mistakes, and again the approaches is the most fun in this section. And then yeah, once I get all 10s one day consistently, we'll probably switch to maybe reading. Maybe sometimes we'll read, because there is reading, speaking, and writing, but those three are harder to put into some time limit. So yeah, it's better to just stick to the listening for now. Anyway, see you later, I guess. Thanks for joining.